installation and how to avoid them. Compressed natural gas is an alternative fuel used in many vehicles as a cleaner, more economical substitute for petrol or diesel. It consists mainly of methane gas stored at high pressure, around 200 to 250 bar. Converting a vehicle to CNG involves installing specialized components that allows the engine to run on natural gas instead of conventional fuel. On today's 10 minutes assurance segment, we shall be looking at some of the mistakes in CNG installation and how to avoid them. But before we go further, let's take a message from our partners, Leadway Assurance.
What can you do in just 2 minutes? Brush your teeth, get dressed, or warm up your food. In 2 minutes, you can also buy your motor insurance with Leadway Assurance. No queues, no stress, just 2 minutes and you are set. Visit auto.leadway.com today. Leadway Assurance, ensuring happiness since 1970.
All right, so Tokunbo, welcome to this segment. All right, sir. What are the components of a typical CNG kit? I know AUTOMEDICS have been engaged in a lot of conversion of CNG vehicles, in recent times.
Yes.
And I know you've become like a genius when it comes to CNG installation, because there is hardly any day you don't have to install.
Yes, we do.
Yes, a CNG vehicle. So now, what are those components, typical components of the CNG?
All right, so some of the components of the CNG kit is CNG installation kit. We have the CNG cylinder, which is used to store the gas. We also have the high pressure lines that carry the gas from the cylinder down to the engine. We have the cylinder valves, which regulates the valve that go the gas that goes from the engine into the that goes from the reducer down to the engine. Then we have the reducer. The reducer, what it does is changes the pressure of the gas that comes from the tank, because from the introduction, it is stored at a pressure of about 200 bar, and so it is then reduced to about 4 bar for it to operate well in the engine. So we also have a reducer that does that. Then we have the injectors. Injectors for most sequential fuel injectors, most port injection type system would have injectors. Though some use a very turret valve for systems that use carburetors, but for most engines that we have today, we have injector nozzles, and so we have injectors also for the CNG that injects the CNG fuel into the engine. Then we have sensors. We have the MAP sensor, we have oxygen sensor. These are also used as an engine regulation systems. Then we have the filters that filters the CNG gas before it goes into the engine as well.
All right, so I believe this next question is something I believe you're getting used to. Probably, yes, you've been inundated with this question. So the process involved in CNG installation. Yes. So
one of the first step when it comes to installation of CNG is to ensure that the engine is in good condition. So the engine's pressure compression is taken to be sure that you have the engine in good condition to be able to take the CNG gas, and then we can begin with installation. So some of the things that you'll have installed on the vehicle is retrofitting the intake manifold of the vehicle, and this is to be able for the intake manifold to be able to take the CNG injectors on, and so we have to do some retrofitting on the intake manifold of the vehicle. Other things that we also installations that will be done will be the CNG cylinder being installed on the vehicle. Most times, vehicles would have them installed in the trunk, and some other vehicle would have it installed in the cabin. Then we have the high pressure lines that will take CNG gas from the tank down to the reducer. Then we also have high pressure lines that take from the reducer to the refuel valve. Then we also have hoses that take CNG from the reducer down to the engine. then installation of the map sensors, and installation of other components like the oxygen sensors, the switch, the wiring harness, and the ECU. There will be a controller that controls the injection of CNG gas into the engine. Then after all the installation and fitting has been done, there has to be a calibration of the system to ensure that the CNG this calibration is to have the amount of CNG that will be injected into the engine by time in relation to what we have when it comes to petrol also.
So that means some people actually have their cylinders installed in the cabin.
Yes, for most commercial buses, they have the cylinders installed in the cabin. In the cabin? Yes, under the seats.
Oh, okay. I guess that's why some passengers get terrified when they see that there's a cylinder underneath, where I'm seated. Exactly. And there's this subtle fear. Yeah. Okay. So let's look at some common mistakes in CNG installation and how we can address them, how they can be avoided.
All right. And so one of the major mistakes most persons do when it comes to CNG installation is not inspecting the engine's combustion and the engine's performance.
Okay.
Now, if the engine is not inspected to check its performance and CNG installation is done on the vehicle, the vehicle may not run well on CNG. So the vehicle may start to go off on CNG. I have seen some vehicle owners. I have been able to interact with some drivers of commercial buses when I see them doing some things with their vehicles that have been converted to CNG. And I was able to talk to one, and it was like whenever it's taking on a hilly place, it would have to switch to petrol because the vehicle, when it's running on CNG, would not go on that particular point.
Wow.
So you would have to switch to petrol. Then when it gets down the hill, it switches to CNG again and start to. So it was switching manually, and that was what even prompted me to ask.
Is it?
Well,
is that the ideal way?
That's not the ideal way, but I guess because the engine's condition was not okay, and maybe somebody failed to do an inspection on it, and so the engine, it wasn't running well on gas when it's at low speed under heavy load. So it's always good to do an inspection on the engine before you go ahead to do any installation of CNG. If the condition of the engine is not good, maybe the compression ratio is low, we used to recommend that they do an overhaul on the engine before we go ahead and do an installation on CNG conversion. Another thing that could also, another mistake most persons make is also not having to calibrate properly whenever the installation is done. Now, calibration is done after the installation to ensure that the engine runs with the right amount of gas per time when it is needed on demand. And so if the calibration is not run properly, the vehicle may start to run rough as well. Then inspection of leak. It is always important to check for leak whenever the installation is done. Some persons
Before or after installation?
After installation. It's the only time to be able to get leak is after the cylinder is filled with gas already.
Okay.
If there is no gas in the cylinder, there's no way one can be able to check for leak because you won't even know if there is a leak.
Yes.
So it's after the filling of the gas that one would be able to check to see if there are leaks. So you check for leaks. If there are leaks, it's best to have it fixed. But some persons will just do an installation and may not remember to check for leak, and this is dangerous and not ideal for the vehicle because the gas is going to be leaking out. Though it may not explode because it's dispersed almost immediately because it's lighter than air, but it's going to make the person spend more on CNG gas. So this is another thing you would always want to. Then another thing most persons fail to do is also not putting the tank or not strapping the tank in place. Now, having the tank not strapped in a position could also cause the tank from moving from one position to the other, which will cause early wear to the tank and make the tank get damaged on time. So it is always important that whenever installation is being done on CNG, the tank should be installed in a position and also held in place with fasteners such that it won't be moving from one end to the other.
All right, thank you very much, Tokunbo Adegoju. His time will not permit us, to ask further questions. Thank you very much, for sharing with us from your wealth of knowledge and experience.
Thanks for having me.
On this note, we'll come to the end of another 10 minutes lead way assurance segment on AUTOMEDICS. Do not forget that Leadway Assurance has the Happy Plan, and it is a robust plan that has thought of all your needs. And with one premium, it covers household building or content-based coverage, motor mandatory rider, personal accidents mandatory rider, and the legal occupiers liability mandatory rider. It has the silver, gold, and platinum covers, all with awesome features. You can reach out to us on our website www.leadway.com or send a mail to insure@leadway.com. You can also call us on 012800700 or 012800701. Thank you for listening. We'll see you again on Friday. Bye.
What can you do in just 2 minutes? Brush your teeth,